Hi everyone, this is Kimoy from keepingupwithkimoy.com, and today I would like to walk you through a fun exercise. I am going to compare two products, the Android Pay and the Apple Pay, but I'm going to show you from a tech writer's perspective what are some things that each of these companies consider important, who are they speaking to, what the voice and the tone of the brands are. Okay, so I want you to see if you were to be hired by one of these companies, what are some things that you would have to walk through in your job when you write about a new product. Now, to keep things like as simple as possible, I'm going to walk through the home page of Android Pay, and then I want you to take the lessons that you learned from this walkthrough and compare it to Apple Pay. And let me know. I want to hear your feedback as far as the differences in the voice, the tone, who they're talking to, etc. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started and talk about the language and text that we see here for Android Pay. So right away at the very top, without even scrolling, we can see the words tap pay, and then the third word changes according to what is happening in the visual of the screen. So tap pay num num with a donut. Then we have fresh with we have tasty with a watermelon and splash. So obviously they are speaking to a younger audience, an audience that values simplicity. There really is only 3 words showing up at a time in this case. And they are talking to the customer about what they can buy when they install Android Pay. So it's a little bit different from what you will see in Apple Pay. Apple Pay tends to focus more on where you can use Apple Pay, but straight off the bat, you will see here that they're focusing on what are some things that you can get when you use Android Pay. The other thing I want to point out to you is here in the top right corner, there's a button that says try it today. And when you click on it, it actually takes you to the Google Play Store so that you can install the app. So that is the main call to action. Without even scrolling or doing anything else, they want to encourage people to download the app. All right, so that's really, really important when you're a tech writer. You have to think about the user and what it is that you want them to do. So I'm sure that with this button being in the top right, that they get a lot of downloads for Android Pay, Android Pay. So here now, in this part of the screen, they're talking about a new home for your cards. They're saying to their customer, right, that they already do everything with their phone. So all you have to do now, you could pay with your phone now. So that's a really key message that they're sending to their customers. So obviously, their customer uses their phone for everything. And maybe you and I know myself for sure. I use my phone for everything. So what they're saying is you don't really have to change your habits. Now you can pay. And the visual element on the right kind of shows like what your wallet might look like, but all your cards can get stored within Android Pay as far as the visual element that they're showing to go along with the text. All right. So basically, you now have a new home for your cards. So they're talking about convenience. You don't need to walk around with all those cards. Now we scroll down, we see that they want you to know that you can use Android Pay with your phone in stores. And they're talking about that you don't need to juggle between your phone and a wallet. So again, they're talking to the person who always has a phone in their hand. You don't even want to dig into your purse or your wallet to pull out a card. They're talking about how convenient it is. You already have your phone in your hand, right? So you're not changing your habit. It's already in your hand. And all you have to do is make sure it's unlocked and hold it over the terminal. And they have a visual element to support it on the right. I know we're talking about the text because this is what you will be focused on as a tech writer, but when you compare this to To Apple Pay, I want you to pay attention to the visual elements that they decide to show along with the text. So in this case, all you have to do is unlock your phone and hold it over the terminal. But you will see it's a little bit different for Apple Pay where you have to click Touch ID. And in some cases, you don't even see what Touch ID looks like, okay? So that's something you want to pay attention to when you do the comparison after watching this video. All right, so here in this particular part of the screen, they are honing in on the fact that it's very convenient and it's easy to do, and you're not changing your existing habits because you already have your phone in your hand. In this part of the screen, they want to kind of build some credibility at this point. They're saying that a lot of stores, millions of stores around the world already accept Android Pay. And here in the text part of the screen, they're telling you all you have to do is look out for one of the symbols. So they make it easy for you to recognize when a store is accepting Android Pay. And I love that they add the logo so that it draws attention for you as a user, what to pay attention to. All right, and I noticed that on the right hand side, the visual element, I don't actually see this Android logo, but I see very popular brands and stores in that image. So to kind of bring in this element of credibility and legitimacy, there's a list of brands and logos right below, like we're in more places than you think. So I feel like at this point, they are honing in the message that, look, we are already available at all these places that you probably shop, so you might as well go ahead and get Android Pay because these places that you're familiar with already accept it. And if it's important, if it's important to you, right, to see other stores, you can click on the button to see more. But there's a particular thing I want to mention here is that as I'm scrolling through this page, there isn't really much for me to click on, right? They're really focused on my ability to scroll down and read more in this way. There is no like links or anything distracting me. Like I can't even click on anything else. Like the whole goal is for me to keep scrolling so that I can get the information I need. There's no other actions I need to do. So far we only saw the button to download the app at the very top. And then if this branding stuff is super important to me, then I will click on this. When you go to compare it to Apple Pay, you will see that branding and security and legitimacy of all these major brands is super important to Apple right off the bat. That was like the first call to action you will see on Apple Pay. All right. So now this particular screen, they are speaking to users who value reward programs. So to be honest, I didn't even know Coca-Cola had a reward program. I know Walgreens, I know CVS, that's more popular to me, but I'm kind of shocked that they didn't focus on hotel and flight rewards, because that is very popular among like my generation and millennials and stuff like that. So the fact that they chose these two to talk about in the text as well as a visual is really interesting. So obviously there's a particular user they are targeting with these two reward programs. So maybe there is some sort of partnership that's really important to the company that they mention these brands, or maybe there is a particular user. Maybe, who knows what the reasoning is, but I just want you to pay attention to this because I'm going to bring it back up later. All right, so as we scroll, this is super, super important. So they're saying that the checkout is simpler, right, when you're using apps and online. So that kind of implies that it wasn't really easy before. So now they're saying that Android Pay makes it easy to check out using your apps and online. They're telling you that you don't even have to enter your card details every time. So they're speaking to customers like me who probably is on the go, who love convenience, like everything to be done and paid for with just a tap. So they're saying that you can save yourself time, right? The other element that I really, really love is the visual elements, because here in this carousel of images, there's 3 different images. You can see the buy with the Android Pay button clearly, and they actually made it a lot bigger so you can see what it will look like in different apps. Okay, I really, really love this visual element. Now, when you go and compare it to Apple Pay, you're going to see that the pay with Apple Pay, it kind of gets lost. Let me show you really quickly, but I will get back to, so here's an image here on Apple Pay. And you can see that the Apple Pay button is really hidden. Like, it doesn't particularly stand out, all right? What stands out is the black bag, which I'm sure they're not trying to sell. But what is even more important to Apple is the products, the suite of products. You can clearly see this is a MacBook, this is an iPhone, and this is an iPad. So it's completely different from Android Pay, where they're highlighting the button, they're making it bigger, and they're telling you that it is simpler when you use your apps and online. Okay, let's keep going. So once again, they sprinkle in some more brands and logos, so you can see that they're sprinkling I think it's very intentional that they didn't put all of the companies and logos in one sheet. Like if it's in one web page, like if this is something that's important to you, you will feel inclined to click see more. But I feel like the way that dispersed it throughout the page, it shows like, hey, we have the credibility, we are in stores that you're familiar with, but it's not like the biggest focus of Android Pay. Okay. Now, this particular screen, there's 3 cards, and the first thing that I noticed, I feel like it's a hodgepodge of content. Security and protection goes together, but the rewards part, I feel like that part was kind of just thrown in there. So on the left hand side, it says the benefits you love. I feel like this should be at the top where we talked about here, an easier way to earn rewards, right? Because that's what this particular card on the left is talking about. And now they're speaking to me, because remember I said earlier that I like to rack up miles for hotels and flights. So I feel like that should have been part of that banner that we saw before. Here they're trying to say that you already know that Android Pay is secure, and in the event that something happens, they tell you what you can do. So I really love that they reassure you that if you lose your phone, if it gets stolen, go to your Android device manager and you could lock it from anywhere. So that is really good to know. So if somebody was comparing the security of Apple Pay and Android Pay, Apple Pay really, really focuses on security and privacy and protection. When you do the comparison, you'll see like a bajillion mentions of the word secure. But here, Android Pay kind of touches on it, but it's not really the focus of these particular users. I feel like Apple Pay users are more secure focused, more privacy focused, whereas Android Pay users might be a little bit more focused on convenience and fun and quick and easy and simple. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. And again, there's a list of banks that you and I are likely familiar with. So they grouped all of the banks together to kind of bring back the element of security and familiarity. So I see that instead of see more, they're talking about more banks. So a lot of people probably say, well, does my bank work with Apple Android Pay, right? So if that's important to you and you don't see your bank here, then you will definitely click to make sure that your bank is there. And now we're at the bottom of the page, and I really, really love this because it is very simple. There's not a lot of words, but you understand what the action is. This is what the user is supposed to walk away at the end of the day. Number one, get the app. And there's a link to Android Pay. Again, it's the same link that was at the top is here at the bottom. So that's step one. Step two is add a card. Very simple. And I kind of wish it had said add your card. And then three is like, you're all set. That's it. So they speak to the customer where simplicity is very important. And the only links that you can click on is downloading their app. That is the bottom line. So there's nothing else for you to click on. All right. And then when you get to the bottom, they speak to business customers. So yeah, so that is what I wanted you to see. You will, when you go through the Apple Pay, there will be some stark differences between the things that you can click on and when you get to click on them and the supporting visual elements. So I encourage you to do this exercise and send me your feedback and your comments based on what you've learned so far. And if this is something that you're really interested in, my course, Get Paid to Write in Tech, is open for registration, and I would love to have you in there. This is just a glimpse of what it would be like to work on a particular product for a company. And I wrote a blog post to share with you 5 ways you can explore a career in tech writing so that you can get more familiar with some of the opportunities and what you will need. But this exercise that I walk you through is definitely like a real world type of experience. So I look forward to seeing your responses and what you are able to see from a tech writer's perspective when you compare Apple Pay to Android Pay. All right. Thank you for watching.